little guy, about 4 or 5 foot long, right there.
Don't call us little.
What's that?
Right?
True. All right, y'all. Tour's over. Thanks for coming out there.
Mission accomplished.
Yo, recently most of the alligators we've been seeing have been sitting up on top of something, up on logs, up on docks. This is actually unseasonably cold for us. We are a little cool compared to what we normally are. Alligators have just now come out of hibernation. An alligator has to keep his body temperature above 70 degrees to digest food. To do that, they'll sit up in the sun like this one's doing, and if you see they got those ridges that run along their back, those ridges are called scoots. All the veins of an alligator run right underneath those scoots. So they'll sit up and they'll let the sun beat down on their back and it warms up their blood real fast. If an alligator eats and it can't get its body temperature above 70 degrees, the food will actually rot in their stomach and it'll kill them. And a lot of times right now what happens is alligators, if they feel like they can't keep their body temperature above 70 degrees, they'll go get back in the dens that they hibernate in. They hibernate in dens, and 6 or 8 alligators will use the same den and pile up on top of each other, help each other keep warm. Now, there's a lot of trash in the river. There's going to be a whole bunch of stuff floating down the river today. This river crested yesterday, and they were predicting the worst flood that this town's had from the river in 30 years yesterday. It didn't happen nearly as bad as they were predicting, thank God. We had our military and all was activated down here for the flood, and it didn't happen. It did crest pretty high, and what happens when that happens is a lot of the trash and debris that's been stuck in the swamp for years will float up and float down the river.
What's crested when it goes over its line?
What's that?
The high point it goes.
Yeah, once like when it overflows its banks. Now this white bird back here, that's a great egret. Chances are we'll see a bunch of these today. That's one of Louisiana's most populated
That's
birds.
not what's not a statue.
What's that?
That was not a statue.
No, that one's real. These great egrets in the early 1900s went on the endangered species list because people used to shoot them during their breeding season for these 2 big long feathers they get in their back called iris feathers. People would shoot those birds just to pluck those feathers out and put them on ladies' hats. It used to be a show of wealth back then. The McLaney family, people that produced Tabasco's hot sauce, started a farm for the great egrets and brought their population back. The little area we're going through up in here, this is a typical Cajun fishing village. We don't have too many families who still live out here. Most people just come out here on the weekends when they want to go hunting or fishing for a couple days. There's a few of these villages on this river, and we used to have a lot more people who lived out here before Hurricane Katrina. Hurricane Katrina hit this area really hard. All the debris you see on the left-hand side of the river, that's all from houseboats that we had that lined the river, and they couldn't take the winds of the hurricane. The water here during that hurricane was about 25 foot higher than what it is right now. It got 1 foot into that big house, so you can kind of eyeball how tall it was. To the roof of most of these places. And I was a police officer here when the hurricane hit. We stayed in the jail and we had some meteorologists stay with us. They put all their instruments on our roof and they broke at 190 miles an hour. And they're not sure if that was our worst wind gust. We could have wind gusts that were worse than that. So. Yo, that white boat, that's a Lafitte's Gift. That's the most commonly used works boat in the state of Louisiana. Those are built specifically for shrimping. Their sides dip down a little bit in the middle, and they have that extra added-on piece on the back that's called a fantail. Having those two things make it a lot easier to work with nets. And you put the nets on the rigging that's on the side right there. They're called wing nets now. Originally, they were called porpieres. And the reason they were called porpieres is they were designed by a shrimpman on Bayou Lafourche here in Louisiana named Pierre. His boat had broken down. He couldn't figure out how to fix his boat. So he designed the nets where all he had to do was anchor his boat and put the nets out. The shrimp would still go through his nets. He did that until he made enough money that he could pay somebody to come and fix his boat. And that's why people called them 4 P'ers, because they were messing with them, because Pierre didn't have no money.